Close the door. Give him 5 minutes.
Governor, do you have any better understanding of what happened with this death row inmate who apparently had an overdose of some kind?
Well, apparently,
how this was able to happen in a supermax prison?
Well, I can speculate, and probably I shouldn't do that, but I will in this incident. Inmates on death row, obviously, some of them are on medications of different kinds. So I am speculating that they saved up their medications and gave it to this inmate so that he would have a sufficient amount to try to take an overdose. I'm not certain that that's how it happened, but that seems, having worked in the prison system, and really when I worked in the prison system at Lucasville, death row was at Lucasville, and I spent some time on death row. So I'm speculating, but I'm speculating out of some experience that that's likely what happened. But as a result, as you know, I deferred the date of execution for approximately 1 week. So an investigation, obviously, will be done to try to determine exactly what he took and how he received it.
There seems to be an ethical debate brewing as to whether the state has a responsibility to prove his health before he gets executed. Do you have an opinion about where the ethics are in this matter?
Well, there are ethics, and then there are legal considerations, certainly. And it is ironic, obviously, that you would work to keep someone alive when they are scheduled to be executed. But I think the law apparently is very clear that the state has the obligation to attend to an inmate's medical needs until such time, even a condemned person, until such time as the date of execution occurs and that they are in fact executed. So it is ironic, I will admit that. It's a hugely unusual set of circumstances. But my obligation, and I think the obligation of the state, is to do everything that we can to observe the law as we understand it, and that's what we're doing in this case.
How concerned are you that this could happen, 2 days before the execution? To someone who's being watched by a guard at his door. You've been in that environment.
Well, I don't know that every death row inmate is observed all the time. They do go to showers and meals are passed and so on and so forth. So, having worked in the prison system, I'm hugely aware that the inmate population can be very creative in trying to break the rules and overcome the rules, so this has, it's happened, but I think these kind of occurrences in terms of inmates passing medications and saving medications up and doing those kinds of things is not a terribly rare thing to have happen.
You had a chance to meet yet with the Council of Economic Advisors?
We did. We met earlier today.
Is it good news or bad news? Or?
Well, it was mixed news, but I think largely positive. They all seem to agree that we have reached the bottom of the recession and are in a position now to start seeing the signs of recovery. We had some discussion about how rapidly that recovery would occur and how soon jobs would be created, and I think there is widespread agreement that unemployment is going to continue to be a problem for quite some time. But I think every economic advisor that participated was rather clear in saying that they think that we are now beginning to work our way out of this recession into a time of recovery. There was agreement that we are recovering. We have not reached full recovery, but we are in the process of recovering, and that was good news.
So you were encouraged by the report overall?
I was encouraged overall, yes. I think there was general agreement that the the advice they were giving or the opinions they were sharing, if they were likely to be faulty, were likely to be less pessimistic than what may actually occur. And that's reasonable, I think. These advisors tend to try to be as conservative as they need to be in giving us information which we intend to use and do use then to to deal with our own budget considerations. And so the good news was we are no longer seeing the kind of declines. The free fall has been stopped. They also indicated that that the stimulus had been effective in helping the GDP of our state and of the nation, and that we now are seeing definite signs of recovery.
Last question, do you have a position on House Bill 10, which is the bill that would allow juveniles to issue, I think, restraining orders, protective orders?
Oh, I am hugely supportive of that legislation. I think it will go a long way toward protecting our youth, and simply because they are juveniles, in my judgment, they should in no way be less supported in their efforts to be safe. And I had a chance to meet the one young woman who had been shot in the face by her boyfriend, and she's a very courageous young woman, but I met with her recently in Cleveland, and I believe that she had sought a restraining order and had been denied such because of her age. And so she is just but one example, I think, of why this legislation should be passed. It's passed the House, I believe, and I've called upon the Senate publicly on numerous occasions. Most recently, yesterday, during the Women's Conference. I would like to see the Senate take this legislation up and pass it quickly and bring it to me for my signature. I think it's the right thing to do.